Their Fated Travels. Chapter 17. A plot to steal. To steal a plot. As the flame of Ulrich died down after cleansing the temple of Cornite worshippers from an enveloping flame that washed around everyone present, all of the doors to the main hall were finally breached by the large crowds outside. Leading the group was Father Rainulf, High Capitular Stolz, Watch Commander Ulrich Ch17, and a new face, a tall man with short brown hair and green eyes. He wore a huge great sword upon his back, and was adorned in expensive-looking full-plated mail. A religious symbol of Verena was clearly etched onto a large ring on his right hand. Rysandria, who was treating Tordrad's wounds at this point, looked up, as the expression on her face made it clear that she knew who the newcomer was. As she finished using both her medical knowledge and her lesser divine healing powers, channeled through prayer, she set about cleaning the less life-threatening wounds, keeping out any chance of infection from the Plague Lord. Maestro and Tobias were explaining the events leading up to and the aftermath of the fight to the interested officials who had gathered. Dieter was patting Olga absent-mindedly. Rysandria was engaged in inspecting the back of Tobias's skull, as he had taken quite the blow earlier. Tordrad was dulling the pain from his wounds that were now bandaged with a swig of vodka from his flask. He was totally oblivious to the intense conversation going on around the room right then. All he cared about was that the demon was at last defeated, and if it showed up again, he would send it right back to the pit it crawled from. Father Rainulf pinched the bridge of his nose as he closed his eyes in thought. The words of the unofficial journeyman wizard had begun to sink in. He took a deep breath before speaking. Although I believe what you say is true, religion is a touchy subject, especially for those that are truly devout. Maestro waved a hand dismissively, chirping up in a holier-than-thou manner.
Well, that's not the kind of thing I'd expect to hear from a man of the cloth.
Aren't you also a man of the cloth as well, Maestro? Dieter asked, looking around at Rysandria, who was still attending to Tobias. The wizard sighed.
Dieter, my man, do not confuse garbs of mad zealots with the robes of the enlightened order of thinking minds. Besides, religion is all just mad politics and fear like any other business.
The majority of the room turned their faces towards Maestro, aghast in disbelief. Rysandria shook her head. Now is not the time to be talking about people's beliefs, but rather what we need them to believe in order to keep the peace. Rainulf nodded. As far as people should be concerned, this was a ploy by the ruinous powers to divide us while we were weakened, and as such, I must ask you all not to mention what happened here. The group were forced to agree, and were not allowed to leave until they had. Extract from the Diary of Maestro, Day 40.
Well, this has certainly been an odd night, and I had hoped to be done with religion, but then fate wouldn't want that, and I knew it. A man approached us, and I could see with my magical sensitivity the powerful energy that flowed off of him. It wouldn't take a celestial wizard to tell that this would only lead us to more trouble.
Extract from the Diary of Rysandria. Had I expected that we would encounter Brother Tristram of the warrior sect of Verena, I would have approached the temple before now and inquired for his help in our investigations. He always has a sense of justice and the need to uncover the truth, but now it seems he has come to ask for my aid. I dare say I will grow more intrigued to what needs to be done, the more I learn of it. Extract from the Diary of Tordrad. Magic is women's domain in Kislev, and religion is mostly men. Sometimes I will see women, but only those that worship does, as preserving the hearth is the duty of house. But here in the Empire, they do not care about who is in what position, least of all who is their ruler. Their Sigma left no heir, and they must vote for who is their emperor from one of the counts. They even fight about which god is the stronger and should be worshipped more, and now this man comes up to us. Rysandria says he is warrior priest. If he is a warrior priest, then hopefully he knows which end of the blade he carries is which. Extract from the Diary of Tobias.
Now it is a priest from the goddess of justice petitioning for our help, or rather for Rysandria's help, which of course means we will need to follow her to make sure she's safe. This means I will have to be extra careful, with justice breathing down the back of my neck. Why did I write that? How strange.
Extract from the Diary of Dieter, Day 41. I didn't sleep a wink last night, which I am grateful for. I get a feeling that Verena has sent her agents to evaluate my progress. This Tristram fellow seems rather intriguing, however. I get this odd feeling from him, like he seems too pure in spirit. I don't know how else to describe it, but it puts me at great unease. I've never felt anything like this from the Shallian. Extract from the Diary of Tordrad. We were to meet this Tristram at one of the streets on the west side of city. Something about plague blockades. I wonder why we must go where plague is said to be in abundance. I do not want to die like coward on a sickbed, but rather with blade in hand on the battlefield. But something seems wrong with this supposed plague, especially since it is in district with the goddess. That is meant to administer healing for such ailments. Extract from the Diary of Rysandria. The West Gate, Suttgarten. Apparently there is a plague here. As such, the district has been quarantined off, and only those accompanied by a Shallian priestess are allowed to enter. However, if memory serves, there should be a temple of Shallia in this district, so this should be under their jurisdiction. However, High Priestess Avina Klug of the Verenan Temple had even forbidden Tristram from following his investigation into the area, meaning he needed to gain the aid of a Shallian from outside of the city. I was of course more than happy to be of aid, but I fear my companions are not so pleased with the idea of having been dragged along. Extract from the Diary of Maestro.
Another day, another problem. It almost seems like trouble is following me, or perhaps we are the ones following trouble. In either event, I get the feeling that we're heading towards something that doesn't really concern us. But the more experience I gain out here, the quicker I can head back home to all of my comforts and gadgets, I suppose. I do so miss a good tinkering.
Extract from the Diary of Dieter. This does not seem right. If plague was in this area, then shouldn't the doors be marked with something to show which houses are infected? It could be possible that the houses further in could be the only ones, but even so, that would not give rise to the need to quarantine the entire district, maybe just a few streets at most. I need to get some answers out of someone in this street. Extract from the Diary of Tordrad. Dieter seemed curious with door across street. Began shouting at person inside. I did not understand, but he looked funny doing it. He looked even more funny when he put his blade to man's throat as he answered door. We allowed inside the house. Dieter wants to look around, and while he does, silly wizard say he sees something outside. Extract from the Diary of Maestro.
Then we were hearing that the Shallians hadn't even sent people to this house yet. Why would they declare a quarantine of the whole district without even checking to see how far it had spread? I'd say that's pretty careless, personally, but that's what belief in God's will get you. Another odd thing is that the man in robes hiding in the alley outside, well, he seems to be looking directly at the door of this house. I wonder what mess we're in now.
Extract from the Diary of Tobias.
Maestro says he saw a man outside in an alleyway, and that he is looking towards this house. This was rather strange, of course, but nothing that warrants our attention. Could just be a thief, staking the place out, waiting for the right time to empty the place of everything of its value. Just the type of thing we should alert the watch to rather than anything else.